evening, family. What's going on? Another beautiful Thursday night. Ready to go live and talk some dub, hang out with some family. Very excited for this. Hopefully some people will jump on in here. What up? Yes, come on in. Hello, Julie and Julianne and Nancy. Do Dip shopper. We will get our in here. Hope you are all doing well. Well, hello.
Hey, Phil.
How are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Yeah. Well, considering what's going on in the world, we'll take it moment by moment. I think that healthy for the moment as well.
It's good to be healthy.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool. So has it been a little crazy in St. Louis yet? I haven't really kept track of trying to say what's going on here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I think it's better sometimes to just focus on where you are, because otherwise it becomes really scary and overwhelming.
Yeah.
More so than it is paying attention to where you are. But things are okay here. They're definitely, it's smaller than in a lot of other places.
Yeah. Are y'all staying in like 100%? Are y'all going out a little bit at all?
No, we're not. I went to the grocery store the other day to try and like stock up as much as I could. And we're basically just staying home if we can completely.
Yeah. We are doing the same thing as well. I always work at home. My wife works in a lab where she deals with this sort of stuff all the time anyway. But they're kind of shutting down the lab in the aspect of making it just employees only, that kind of stuff. She took today off as well as tomorrow. So I don't know, like we're still going out and not interacting with people, but we're going out to like get a little nature walk in and that kind of stuff. So we've got a lake here where you can go as a pavement path all the way around it. So we're not talking to anybody or getting close to anybody or petting with any pets or nothing like that, but still get out and walk, ride the bike, that kind of stuff. So I think it's keeping us sane because there's just so much house time you can take when you have a 6-year-old.
Yeah, I have a 3-year-old, so.
So
and it's been like cold and rainy here, so.
Yeah, we've had the same. It was actually pretty beautiful here today. It's super windy, so it's even like so windy that it was kind of you had to push to walk through the wind. But anyway, we did it for an hour or so and got out, and I think that thing made the afternoon and the evening go a little bit better. So we have a trampoline in the backyard, but man, still it's not enough for a kid that needs that much activity and stuff. So anyway, how's your 3-year-old holding up?
She's okay. I mean, she does not know what's going on, and honestly, I'd rather just keep it that way. I don't think that she would really understand. Like, we started kind of telling her, oh, there's just this virus going around, and so people are wanting to stay home, and she like started just going off and playing like she wasn't even paying attention. So she's just, I think she's a little confused as to why she's cooped up, and but we just kind of stopped fighting on the TV time, and that's helped a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of fighting her, trying to like get her to play, trying to get her to like, practice letters and practice, and like that just became more of a fight than anything else, and stressing her out and stressing us out. And now that I've kind of just been like, whatever, if the TV's on, it's on. If she plays, she plays. It was a much better day today.
Yeah. So, well, that's I guess that's mindset, really. I mean, the aspect of you control how you feel with the behavior that you produce, and if it matters to you, then you're trying to correct it, and you're trying to do all those things. And sometimes you just let it go, and then it exists. And if you need to correct it, you can. If not, it is what it is. It's one day. It's one day where you survived another day. That's the
Yeah.
same way we are with meals and all kinds of stuff. Like nothing's perfect, especially in the days that we're living in right now. Survival is the perfect thing, just to keep forward and move forward another day. So anyway, well, I'm super glad that we get to do this. It's a little bit different than some of the other ones. Of course, I've been doing them for months and months and stuff, but I feel like that the overall tempo around the world is a little bit lower than maybe normal. So maybe we can chop some WW and bring it back up, because I think for at least for both of us, it has been a life-changing thing, and it has allowed us to reclaim the better part of our life. And so I just really want to learn how that happened for you. I know it's been a little over a year since you hit goal. I was looking through your profile, and I remember that it was February of last year. And but it's interesting to me that you, like me, didn't necessarily like start your Instagram as far as like from the beginning of the journey. So anyway, we can talk about that in a little bit. So just kind of, as always, like tell me a little bit how you found out about WW, and like how many times you did it. Was it something, somebody else in your family done, and where you learned that WW would work and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, this was my third time. Hey, Allie. This is my third time doing it, where I finally made Lifetime and all of that. So the first time, so my mom did Weight Watchers back a long time ago. So I've always known about it. I think even my grandma did it. Like, I've just known about it.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I did it was right after freshman year of college. I don't think I need to elaborate on that. My roommate freshman year became a really close friend of mine, and she was one of those like stick figures, and we literally ate the exact same diet for months, and I just piled on the weight, and she did not at all. Like, just stayed the exact same. Just the pizza and the beer and just all of it, And so after that year, I was pretty unhappy, and I don't remember what made me decide to do Weight Watchers. I guess it was just because I knew about it. And I told my mom I was going to go on like a little trip to visit that same friend in the summer. And I said, when I come back, I'm joining Weight Watchers. Like, I'm done. And so I did, and I was like very, very serious about it. And it was back when it was the point system. And I was very successful with it and lost a huge chunk of weight. I don't even remember how much it was, probably 30, 35 pounds. I mean, something like that, I guess. I don't even remember. But, and I don't really remember why I stopped doing it. I guess maybe my dad says beer. I had no idea. Yeah, right. I think that I don't know, maybe I just set a goal weight that was, I'm sure it was attainable, but it was just like a number that I saw, and I got probably close to it. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, and I don't know, I stopped going, and I didn't gain all of it back, but I just kind of kept going up and down, up and down, up and down for years. I finally, I don't remember how many years later after that, when it was the Points Plus program. So post-college, I kind of just wanted to lose the last like 10 pounds. Like, I just was like heavier than I wanted to be, and I just wanted to lose a little bit. And so I started going again, and I was uncomfortable in the Points Plus program. I was so used to the point system where like I just knew it by heart. I didn't even have to like look things up anymore. I just knew it so well. And I just never quite got used to it. And I think I felt kind of uncomfortable because I wasn't at like a super heavy weight when I rejoined. And I felt weird being there because I don't know, I just felt like people were looking at me like, why is she here? She's not, like, I was just trying to lose a little bit more. And I'm sure that was mostly in my head, but that was just my feeling about it. I don't know. But so at a certain point, I felt like I had lost a little bit, and I just kind of gave up on it.
Yeah.
And then eventually I found MyFitnessPal. So I used to do that a lot. I mean, clearly the theme is that I was always, up and down, up and down, up and down. I'd be thin a lot in my life. thin-ish, and then I'd gain a little bit, and then I'd try and lose it again. And it was always a diet. It was never really a lifestyle change. And when I got pregnant with Sadie, in 2016, beginning of 2016, I was not anywhere near as thin as I wanted to be at that point. And when I got pregnant with her, it was like, hey, this is the first time in my life I'm supposed to gain weight. Awesome. And I just ate everything in sight.
There you go.
Every time I went to the doctor, it was like, oh, wow, gained a lot. And to the point where my doctor started commenting on it, and that was humiliating. And I felt terrible about it. And, and it wasn't really like you're putting your baby in danger kind of thing. It was just like, you're definitely gaining quickly, and, it's going to be really hard to take it off. And so at a certain point in my pregnancy, probably like I had maybe a couple months left or something, I just was really upset about it. And I finally was like, I need to pay more attention to what I'm eating, because this is really, it's embarrassing, It was hard going to the doctor, because I knew I had to step on that scale, and I just felt so embarrassed. And so, then I had Sadie, and I got serious about taking off the weight right away. And as soon as I could start working out, I started working out, and the weight just started to come off. And at a certain point, and I was nursing her, and at a certain point, it was like my body was like, I think we're done. Like, I want to hang on to this weight. But no matter what, I wasn't gaining or losing. It was like I was staying at that point, which was probably like 20, somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds heavier than what I am now, something like that. And so when I stopped nursing, when she was a little over a year old, the right thing to do would have been, okay, now I can get serious again. I have my body back, and I can get serious about losing the rest of this. But instead, I got kind of lazy about it. And, in my mind, it was like this battle, like, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm a mom, I'm focusing on this. And then it would be like, but I don't like the way that I look, and I don't feel good. And I'd go back and forth between those two thoughts in my mind. And then all of a sudden, like, another like 20 or so pounds just like piled right on. Yeah. And so I started trying to lose weight again by using MyFitnessPal, and it just wasn't coming off. And I was like, I need to do something different, because it just like, I couldn't get it to budge, and I was really unhappy. And so, I thought, well, Weight Watchers has worked for me in the past. It's, I think this was even before it actually changed to WW. I think when I rejoined it again, it was still Weight Watchers. And I was like, I know it's going to be a new program for me to learn, but that's good. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing, and I need to eat the right things. And I remembered how on Points Plus, the fruits and vegetables were 0 points. And then hearing about that more foods were 0 points, I was like, okay, that sounds good. And so I joined, and I had a wedding that I was going to be going to, and I was like, oh, I'll do it when I come back from this wedding. And then I was like, no, you know what? I'm doing it now. I just need to start. And so I joined, like, I don't know, it was maybe a week before I went to this wedding, and I still lost like a pound or two that week. Even
was it 2018?
This was in July 2018 is when I joined, and then I hit my goal weight in January, and then became Lifetime in February. So once I got serious about it, it was like it just happened. And I think the difference was that I was eating the right things. I was eating better foods. Whereas when I was tracking calories on MyFitnessPal, like, I could track a cup of Chex Mix,
Yeah.
But was that really good for me? No.
Yeah.
I used to have a Chex Mix addiction. So, the program sort of like, I hate to use the word force, but like it nudged me to eat chicken breast, or to eat non-fat Greek yogurt, which I really never would have eaten before. allowed me to like eat real eggs again. And, you know, it just was a way better way of eating. And I felt so much freedom in that. And it didn't feel like a diet. And once it clicked, and once I started feeling it, I was so successful with it, but I also was able to still, you know, indulge on the weekends a little bit. And, you know, I could still get pizza with my husband, and I could still go out to eat with him and still lose that week.
Yeah.
It's like, this could be like, I could live like this forever.
Yeah.
And that was the change for me, and what made it work, because it didn't feel like a diet anymore.
Absolutely. That's the way it's supposed to be.
And so, you know, and I feel like why I've been so successful with being Lifetime is because I still do it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because it isn't a diet, it's my lifestyle. And, you know, when we go out to eat places, and, you know, I'll still be particular about what I want. And sometimes I'll get the chicken fingers and French fries, and I can, you know, but sometimes then maybe the second night that we go out, if we go out a second time, then I'm, you know, ordering a little more carefully, you know, because it's a balance.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. So after you got into Lifetime, what do you think the most drastic difference is in the actual foods you eat? Not how you think about foods and stuff like that. We talk about mindset in a minute, but like the difference of the grocery store that you used to make like 2 years ago, and the difference of how you act in the kitchen and how you cook. And I mean, obviously you're preparing for you, and you've added a kid that is now moving into actually eating table plated foods and that kind of stuff.
She eats every single meal that
I eat. Yeah. So how have you changed your food? I just want to talk about your food. What did you have to cut, eliminate, or change or modify? Like, what was your approach to your food?
From joining WW2?
Yeah, from then to now.
Not that much, honestly.
Okay.
You know, like, that's the thing. It was just a matter of, you know, I mean, sure, if I'm making a meal and I know what's going into it and I know how many points it's going to be, I'll measure the oil, you know, whereas maybe before I would have just eyeballed it, you know. Now I measure it because I know it will change the points if I'm not careful about the measurements of things. But really, that's the only change. Honestly, I was making Skinny Taste recipes before I joined it. And because they were just good and I knew they were healthier. I've always tried to eat healthier, particularly when I was cooking, because, you know, I could. But it was more, what I used to do was, you know, I would get like lazy about cooking, or I'd be like, let's just get takeout, or, you know, and so then I'd be eating that, you know, more than I would be eating a better balanced diet.
Yeah. And I think what that reveals to us, and it was the same thing with me, I've shared this before a bunch of times, but when you think about, I mean, you almost have to break apart your food and your behavior. I mean, activity is kind of the glue that makes the two talk to each other. But your food and how you think about food is a really critical thing. But when you lay all the food out linearly before and linearly after, like, there may be some changes in the quality of food and definitely in the quantity of food, but the amount that you're bringing back to make it not feel like it is a very restrictive diet, it's not that much. So that's why understanding the healthy eating zone is so crucial, because what you're doing is you're taking that food and just bringing it back just a little bit to get inside the healthy eating zone. It's not stop and then add things back in until you're happy. It's like, just bring it down a little bit and you get back into that healthy eating zone, and then healthy wise, our weight starts to come off. Like doing it other ways, like doing it with manipulation ways where we restrict our food and we overexert in our energy, yes, weight will come off and the body will comply to your demands, but that's not the healthy way. And that's one thing I love about your method there, saying that I didn't actually change my food that much. I just changed it just enough. And clearly you probably got back into the healthy eating zone more days than you didn't. And then over a year, you lost the weight you needed to lose. And now for another year, you've been able to maintain that. And that's a key to success. That, that's one of the reasons I started doing this live each week, is to get someone else's perspective on how they do WW. I know my way works. It's worked for me. How does it work for you? Because there's more people like you than like me, and there's more people like me in different areas and that kind of stuff. So sharing our story really helps do that. So what do you think is the most like influential thing for you now that you kind of have it figured out? You kind of have your plan and that kind of thing. What keeps you motivated? Maybe WW would call it your why. Like what is that thing that keeps Julie on track when choices are abundant and seriously times right now are crazy and the pantry door is always open and it would feel good to do that? What keeps you on track?
I mean, honestly, the way I feel, and what I see when I look in the mirror, I mean, it just, the way that I feel when I exercise, I can tell how good my body feels when I fuel it the right way. When I go on vacation and I indulge a little more and I allow myself to do that, I can tell the difference in how I feel when I'm doing my workouts. I'm definitely more sluggish because, I'm not eating as, healthy of foods, and, I'm not fueling my body in the proper way. And it's okay to do that from time to time. And, I don't think I would have ever been able to be successful with this long term if I could never have pizza again, or I could never have, and I don't mean like, business pizza, because that's still pretty good too. But, like even just being able to get Domino's, being able to have real French fries, like not just air fried fries, I need to be able to know I can have those things, and, but I just love the way it feels. And, I'm setting a good example for my daughter, which is a huge thing, just in her seeing my confidence and her seeing me, she'll come and exercise with me.
I love it.
And it's the cutest thing ever. And she, and I love that, because I mean, it's adorable, and it's fun to kind of see her do that. But it also, I can see that I'm setting her up for success.
Yeah.
And that's my job, So
Absolutely. So what is your go-to movement, your activity, or a couple of activities that you love to get your body moving?
So about a month after I joined WW, I also joined Beachbody on demand. So I don't work for them. I don't drink the shakes. I don't do any of that stuff. But if you can get past all that stuff, they have an on-demand that's $99 a year, and it's all on the Apple TV, on the computer, on your phone. Like I can do it anywhere. And I switch between different programs, and I do all kinds of workouts. And so this time is, really hard for a lot of people who work out at a gym, I'm sure. But for me, this is what I always do. So that part is not so hard for me. It's just harder because of just Sadie being home all the time. But I love it. It's really challenging, and it never gets boring because they're coming out with new programs all the time. And for me, it works super well because I am a stay-at-home mom, and I can fit in a workout every day anytime I want, whether it's while she's at school, whenever she goes back to school at some point, or during her nap, or time, or whatever it is. Even if, I had to when she went to bed, I can do it anytime. And I also, can do it when I'm on vacation. I can just pull it right up on my phone. And so it's been a great thing for me. Strength training, HIIT training, any of it. I never thought I would become a person who works out every single day, but that's me now.
Yeah.
I love it.
How does it affect your day, like plus or minus, if you get to do it or don't get to do it? Like what's the benefit if you do?
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel so much better physically, mentally. I mean, it's a stress relief for sure.
Yeah.
And I know I'm doing a good thing for my body. I get to eat a little more. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's a big part of why I started it. It's not why I do it now completely. It's one of the reasons I do it now. But that's a big part of why I started it. The more I worked out, the more fit points I could get, and then it just became something that I just became completely addicted to because of how it makes me feel, the difference in my body. You know, I mean, yeah, you lose the weight, but if you're not doing exercise, it's not that you can't be successful,
Yeah.
but I can tell such a difference in the toning of my body. And you know, I'm just so much stronger,
Yeah.
and I feel a lot better. So to me, it's just part of it, and it's just it's such an important part of my life now.
Absolutely. What happens for you if you don't get to do it?
Um, I mean, there have been, you know, a few days where I don't get to do it. And they're few and far between for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you know, I'm bummed. I'm
Yeah.
definitely bummed. And I also, again, I have to be a little more careful about what I'm eating because my body is normally being, you know, moved quite a bit more than,
Yeah.
you know, if I'm not doing anything. But, you know, like not too long ago, I injured myself, and luckily I was only out for like a week, but it was a long week, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, yeah, my mood is not as good, and you know, it's I certainly had a lot more time,
Yeah.
but
I
you
get
know,
it.
I was definitely sad. It was, you know, and I felt like I was getting out of shape every day.
Mhm.
You know, that's the thing. It's like you'd think it's hard to work out every day, but once you get in that routine, it's just
Yeah.
part of every day.
Yeah. Yeah. How long do you feel like that hi Christiane joined in here. Anyway, how long do you think it took you to get to that point to where movement became so much of a healthy part of you rather than that competition with your mind of, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to do that. Because for me, I had never in my lifetime been a person that did much working out. And I didn't for the first year of my journey. I lost 100 pounds. And I decided, hey, I'm going to start working out. And so I went to the gym. I talked with the owner, said, hey, I want to come by once a week. I want to come by a couple of other times during the week. I want to work out for about 20 or 30 minutes max. It's just what I want to do. Let's do this. So we started training, and I just did it for the first year, and I went like 130 something times that first year. And it never was, really quickly, it became something that I just loved doing. I loved the way I felt because I did something that I knew I could do. I didn't try to go do something crazy or do something that would hurt me or that kind of thing. So do you feel like for you as well, it was something finding just, I mean, you said it was Beachbody, but was it ever something else, or did you find that quickly and that kind of stuff? Or, I mean, do you feel like there are other things that bring you the same level of joy? It just really revolves around, I need to move. Moving makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be really into Jillian Michaels DVDs.
Mm.
I never really enjoyed like the elliptical or
Yeah.
the treadmill. Like I would go through phases with those, but I always felt like it was just I wasn't really putting in a good workout. Like I enjoyed going to workout classes at gyms or whatever. Um, but I always like I had to kind of push myself to do it. And then once I was doing it, I was like, I hate this while it's happening.
Yeah.
And then after I finished, I was like, I feel great.
Yeah.
So for a long time, it was that. Now, and yeah, I mean, it took me a while. I don't know, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. I don't know where I finally I crave it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that I always love doing it. And there are certainly days where I'm like, all right, just push play, just do it, just do it.
Yeah.
And there are certainly days where, you know, during the workout that I'm like, oh my God, this sucks so much right now. You know, like there are just days where my energy is just not, you know, up there. And, but I always love the way I feel after.
Yeah.
Always. And more days than not now, I'm excited to do it and I feel good during. But it takes time to, you know, and pushing yourself and just doing it until, and you have to find something that you love.
Yeah.
You know, of course, you know, what I do on Beachbody, you know, I mean, of course there are tons of different workouts, but like the HIIT training or whatever, like that's not for everybody. Some people just hate that, you know. You know, I do like a bunch of different kinds of workouts on there. you know, do some of like the dance workouts, and those are really fun too. You know, some people love spinning, some people love swimming. You know, you really just have to keep trying something until you don't hate it.
Yeah.
Because you can't necessarily, I don't think, expect to be like, you know, head over heels in love with something, an exercise, the first time you try it.
Yeah.
Because it is hard and it's supposed to be a challenge. It should be. But just find something that you don't hate and then give that a try for a little while and see how it feels.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me, when you think about you and the reason that you kind of said, I'm going to give WW one more try, having the kid, in that spot in your life, like what has changed, like in your head, mindset wise, of like how you see the person that was there, walked into WW Studio that day or whatever, or joined on the app, like compared to the you that you see now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I joined online, and a big part of that back then, which I think goes into part of the Instagram later, I think. But you know, I joined it online because I wanted to do it, but St. Louis is like a small town.
Yeah.
And I knew if I joined a meeting that it would be likely that I'd run into somebody that either I know or my mother-in-law knows, and so therefore knows me. And I didn't want that. I was like, this is again why working out at home works really well for me, because I like to just sort of put my blinders on and do my thing.
Yeah.
And I went to like meetings in the past when they were called meetings. But I don't know. I was a little like embarrassed about it. I don't know. You know, I guess I was embarrassed that I let myself get to that point. And I felt so uncomfortable in my own skin. And so I think that's definitely the biggest change, is that I am super comfortable in my own skin now. I feel like I'm the me that I've always wanted to be. I mean, that sounds cheesy, but you know, I always wanted to be the person in the mirror that I see now, but I just was like, I never really thought that that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my goal weight I ended up finally changing it, but my goal weight is like 10 pounds more than what I am now. Okay. And to me, that shows that I didn't ever think that I could get to where I am.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I just was like, yeah, I mean, I could be a medium-sized person. Like, you know, I never really thought that I could be a skinny person.
Yeah.
I just didn't see that for myself.
Yeah. It's funny how we have to, through this process, do all the mental work. Surely there's a lot that we're thinking about food and that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about the real mental work of going in and diagnosing what's really going on with me, if I do believe that being overweight is just a symptom of that. You know, our problem is not the weight. Our problem is what behaviors led us to gaining the weight. And then as we work through that, we reveal these parts of ourselves, and we have to start to kind of think about those things, good, bad, healthy, unhealthy, whichever the way they are, we do have to think about them and kind of begin to reconcile them. And so I'm always curious. It's just the thing with me and with mindset. And that's like one of my things that I really love about this, because I truly believe that when you get your mindset straight, that's the way out. You know, because I mean, I was a guy sitting there needing to lose a couple of 100 pounds. There was no way I could see that goal. I needed to think about the things that I needed to do day by day by day. So I'm just curious, like, where along the journey, and what do you think the kind of the leading factors were that allowed you to change within yourself the way you saw yourself, the way you didn't think that my greatest level of success is only going to be medium. You know, you over exceeded your own self, but now that you've landed here healthily, you've been able to walk that back and understand that I I'm living this life of purpose, and I've arrived in this, and now this person has a greater purpose far beyond. Like, I love like the visual of like, you can only set this goal, but you're going to exceed that goal if you truly pursue that goal. Where do we want to continue to do that? So I'm just wondering how you feel that you've kind of grown yourself into being the lovely person that we all know and adore now.
You know, I think the biggest thing is that once I stopped seeing it as a diet,
yeah,
and realized that no, this needs to be my lifestyle, because that's the thing. I don't think that it was ever in my mind that I was like, no, I could never be, you know, lower than that weight. I think that I always knew I could, but did I really want to put in the work? Or was I going to be like kind of, you know, doing it just enough to be at that point? And once I kind of changed my mindset of, you know, if you just stop dieting, you just stop seeing this as like okay, I'm on my diet, I'm off my diet, I'm on my diet, I'm off my diet, then you can be that person, you know. And, you know, I remember having a conversation with a friend who had tried Weight Watchers and then was trying it again, and, you know, and had talked about surgery, and he was just saying to me, I'm so tired of just yo-yo dieting and, you know, going back and forth. And but what I realized, and I think I was able to see this because I had to change my mindset about it too, was that he didn't really want to, you know, he wasn't at the point where he was ready to make real changes. He wanted to just have a quick fix and lose the weight and then go back to his life.
Yeah.
And the more that I talked to him and tried to kind of convince him, no, you can do this, you know, I realized he needed to figure that out on his own. You know, that's the thing. I mean, nobody could tell me, you know, these things that I've figured out. I had to just come to that on my own. And once I did, I have no doubt that I'm set now.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to gain it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You've set new parameters for your life, and there's the safety net to know that, you know, if I gain 3 pounds, then I know what it takes to take those 3 pounds off. Where previously the reassessment process is so delayed. So like it goes months and months and months, and then it's easy to slide into that, well, whatever kind of mentality. And that goes for months and months and months more. And now the thing that we once could reel back in easily is now a bigger goal, and it's so hard, and then it just continues on. And that's why it was decades of poor thinking about how I thought about food and how I thought about myself. For one, like, what do you feel like maybe, and I'll name it, and it might not be for you, so if it's not true or whatever, but I feel like that you've been able to overcome what maybe some would say is the shame part of having all that weight, not wanting to be seen by neighbors and friends and family, and not telling your story. Where was the gas that was put on the fire for you to actually start to tell your story? You started this Instagram, and you share now, and no one can stop you from sharing your story. It's fun and all the things. So like, what was the thing? Was it success, or was it the way you saw yourself, or was it the encouragement that you see in the community that I can do this and I have a story worth telling? How did that start to come?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the success. I mean, I was putting in the work, and it was, you know, the weight was coming off, and it was working, and that felt incredible.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that feeling, you don't want that to end. And so the more, you know, weight I started to lose, the more I was like, you know, I was feeling proud to share, oh, you know, actually, yeah, this is what I'm doing, because, you know, people would start to comment, and, you know, and now still, I mean, I'll run into people who, you know, who I haven't seen in a bit, and they're like, you've lost a lot of weight, you know, and I'm proud to tell them what I did, because I'm proud of what I've done, you know, as opposed to being at a point where you are, you know, embarrassed.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I didn't even know that there was a whole community out here when I started. And part of that maybe was just, was being digital. I don't know how I didn't really discover it. And at a certain point, And it was after I became Lifetime, because I want to say I started my Instagram in May of last year. So it was, quite a few months after I became Lifetime. And I followed the WW page, and they posted like a recipe. And so I clicked on the Instagram, and it was hello, it's Christy. And I saw her page, and I started seeing all these recipes, and I was like, oh, whoa. And then I just like went, it was like down the rabbit hole, then it was like, from then I discovered Katie, WW Journey of Me, and Jake, and those were like the first 3 that I followed. And from that, and then I just started discovering more and more people, and I just had no idea it was a thing.
Yeah.
And the more people I followed, it just was like, this is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And, I was just picking up so many different little tips and recipes, and I just loved it. And I don't know, there was just like a moment of, maybe I should do this too. Because I was already sharing some, whenever I would make dinners and stuff, when I was making throughout like my entire first year of WW, I cooked all Skinny Taste recipes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really all I knew. And it was the only recipe creator that I knew of at the time who had points on her website. And so I didn't have to calculate anything. I just this is what I'm making for dinner. And so that I just plugged in the points that she posted.
Yeah. Way to go, Gina.
So it made my life so much easier, because I could pick out recipes for the week, but I didn't have to think about it much beyond that.
Yeah.
And, but then I started discovering all these other recipe creators and all these things. And so I started talking to Christy, and I was like, should I do this? Should I create a page? And she's like, yeah, you should. And so thanks to Christy, I guess. I was like, okay. And so I did it. And she's like, let me know when you post it. And so I, as soon as I put it up, I wrote her, and she was like, so she was for sure my first friend on here. And she, she followed me right away. She was probably my first follower.
That's awesome.
Even maybe before my mom and dad, if you can believe
it. So what was your, hi, Yvonne. Ooh, Dixie Bexy's here. I love it.
Oh.
So what was your first thought when you ran across www.phil?
I was like, this guy's cool.
I don't know about that.
You are the coolest.
Well,
I was explaining to my husband, because he was asking me if I was ready to do this, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Phil is so good at this. He's so chill, and just go with the flow. And yeah, obviously I saw your transformation pictures, and I was like, wow, and you were also something that I noticed from the beginning with you. You are everybody's cheerleader.
Yeah.
And that is one of the greatest things about you, honestly. You follow everybody.
Yeah.
And you're cheering everybody on. From the beginning, when you started following me, you were always commenting on transformation pictures, cheering me on. I see, cheering everybody else on. And that's a special thing. And it's important to people. And, for people who have, just make an Instagram and have 5 followers or whatever, having somebody, write a comment is an amazing thing. And then seeing somebody who has as many followers as you do to comment something like that, I'm sure, it means a lot to people. So
yeah. That's it's definitely something that I love doing. And I know that I've always done it. It's not because I do it now as an ambassador or nothing. I've always done that. And it's just because I know the power of encouragement. And I really I kind of live my whole life in the aspect of, if you think it, say it, especially if it's good. Now I have to hold back, and if I think it, don't say it sometimes if it's not good. And I'm not saying I'm perfect or imperfect and that kind of stuff, but I know I have an opinion on a lot of things, so I hold back some of that stuff. But a lot of it for me is just loving on people. I am blessed with a great perspective on life, and everything I try to do, I try to lead with love. And it doesn't matter what's going on in somebody's life. If they're worth knowing, and investing in, then they're worth digging into a little bit deeper and finding out what makes them tick. And that's why I kind of started doing this. It was just a great way for me to connect one-on-one with so many people. Yes, some of my followers, like the Pound Dropper, have had 300,000 followers, but I've also had my great friend Michelle on here, and she has like 700. So it doesn't matter about that. It's really about just loving on the person, because they're so powerful in the ability to start telling your story. I cannot say it enough. And I see all these people in our world, the people that kind of reside in the IG world, which kind of coincides with what's going on with the transformation that WW is doing right now. Because of the virus, face-to-face will always come back and that kind of stuff. But going the virtual way and pushing into Connect, really, it is a powerful thing for us to continue to see each other. There will be people that will not push the camera button. I get it. And that kind of stuff. They don't want to do that. They're not ready to do that. So whenever they're ready, they can. That's a great thing. But being able to show your face and live in that moment, to where what I see on the screen is something I love. And that is a hard thing. And I know that at some point soon, I'm going to do that thing again with Jayana that she did a year or so ago. But like, it's just the whole thing of like looking at yourself and say, I am, and I am beautiful. And that is a powerful phrase, and a lot of people have to live life, or choose to live life, or life demands from them that they don't live in that moment. And I want to always be that kind of guy that like pushes people to grow that part of themselves. And I feel like you do a really good job of that as well. So how does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can really make a difference in somebody's journey, whether it's in a big way or a small way. You know, it means a lot to hear, positive feedback from people, and whether that's a follow or, a comment, getting a response back from somebody if you send them a DM or whatever, we're people, and it's a really cool thing that we can connect this way, especially with what's going on right now, where, we're stuck at home. It's an amazing thing that we can still have this connection. And, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and, not that I don't have, real life friends and stuff, but it's still so nice to be able to, to connect with so many people just through Instagram, and, and I feel like I've made real friends that way too. And friends who have gone through the same thing that, that I've gone through and continue to go through, and, get it. And, it's just a special thing that there's a community like this. And I mean, I wish I had discovered it earlier.
I know,
but I'm glad I did,
Like, where have y'all been all my life?
And your name was different when I followed you, by the way.
Oh yeah. It was probably WWPW Sing.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing. Like, I didn't really understand Instagram in the aspect of, well, for one, like I'm smart enough to have understood it. I just didn't care. So when I started, I had an Instagram for like, since Instagram came out, like the week it came out, probably 2010 or 11, whenever it came out, I had an Instagram, and I chose my first initial, my middle initial, and the first four of my last name. I am a singer. I love to sing. So PW Sing. Hey, that sounds cool. I know you're a singer as well. I'll tell you something in a minute that's pretty funny. You're going to love it. It's actually not funny. It's amazing. So anyway, I did that, and that's like my Twitter name. That's my Connect name, PW Sing. So I have Instagrams, PW Sing. Most of that over there, if you see it, it's a private account, but if you follow me and I know you, I will let you watch, and then you see my kid and my wife and all the things. So I wasn't getting much traction over there talking about my WW stuff, and I was about to leave to go become a coach for WW, and I was like, I'm just going to start a different Instagram and put WW in it and see if people start to find me because of the WW. And surely enough, it became deal. And then people were like, what is WWPW thing? It's like, that's like way too many W's. It doesn't make sense. And I was like, I agree with that. I said, the only thing I want to be is Phil. So I want to be WW Phil. And like, I just decided that would work, and it was short and it was easy, and there was no other Phils that were associated with WW, so I occupied that space. And I was like, I'm going to spread my wings, and there can be no other WW Phils.
You're the only Phil, apparently.
That's right. So if anyone thinks about Phil within WW world, it's me. So that's funny, but yeah, that was one of the great things. Like as I started doing this, and I realized that this thing can have a purpose, and like for me, it is well developed now into something where it is like a life-giving ministry. I don't, it's like a church word, but whatever, like being able to help others. I enjoy that. And so telling my story and sharing it with people and being available to people. I mean, like, I know that there are people that have 3 times as many followers. Our friend Christy, you were talking about, she's got like 30,000 followers, and I can't imagine the level of people talking to her. But at my number of do what? She always responds. Yeah. I talk to her every day. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's a great cook and baker and a great mom. So, and she's strong as crap. So anyway, the ability to tell the story and that kind of stuff was just something meant to me. So I was like, I want to be able to give back. And like, cause I don't know that I, from the very beginning of the journey, had anybody that I really connected to. I really connected with some of the guys, Dane, and to Anthony and Jake, some, and then really to Evan. And when Evan died, was killed or what have you, like it was so like just like one of those moments where like I just want to like step into this and become who I'm supposed to be in this community. And just, that's really one of the things that, if I can be an example of someone who's willing to be there for someone, then there will be someone for them when they need someone, and they will then be someone for someone. And that's a phrase that I say every once in a while, is like, be someone for someone. And that's, I think that's just a powerful thing. And I know you do a good job of that as well, but excuse me, but it is an availability for me is a fruit of a seed that comes back to me tenfold. I love being able to be this, it probably is a little more than my family would want, that kind of stuff, but I try to hang out with them, and we do lots of stuff together. I do need to always do better at putting down the phone a little bit more and that kind of stuff.
Don't we all?
But it's just part of the season of life right now, and I enjoy it. What does it mean for you? Like how much Instagram has like returned in love backwards to you now?
Yeah, I mean, it's, when I get responses from people about, yes, I feel that exact same way, or, thank you for talking about your struggling, like, especially the last couple of days, I've gotten a lot of messages saying like, thank you for talking about that you're having a really tough time, because, it's really hard. And, just being as real as you can be. Sometimes I'm just doing it for myself, to be able to just vent about something, or just to talk about how I'm feeling. And then, maybe I'm doing it really for myself, but it's helping somebody because they're hearing what they're feeling and they weren't saying it out loud. It's nice to have a community that feels as supportive as this one is. And, I've never felt judgment, whether I'm sharing the positives, the losses, or, having a couple weeks of just unable to lose that last extra pound from vacation or whatever. There's just always support. There's never judgment. There's never, that I've experienced, there's never jealousy. There's never like competition. At least in my little corner, I haven't experienced that. And I just love that. In social media, that's rare, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. I have not had to experience relatively any negative. I've gotten weird DMs and messages and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I can easily delete all that. But
hey, pretty lady, how you doing? Yeah.
So most of all, it's just a great place to love on people, and I truly enjoy that. I truly enjoy telling my story, and it's funny how a lot of people see like kind of the way I story and that kind of stuff, and then especially like when we went down to Dallas and stuff like that, meeting some people and be like, some people respond and be like, he's almost the same exact way in person. And I'm like, yep.
What'd you expect?
I'm just me. Yeah, it's great to be able to be confident enough to like just live your life in front of people. But it's, you know, I see myself make mistakes on, you know, the text that I write on stories or something like that. And I was like, just let it go, whatever. Like I'm not living a life of perfection. I don't need to delete stuff and you know, correct errors. I am flawed. There's no doubt about that. And I can live in those flaws and still be the person I'm intended to be. And I think that's a truism that most of us need to learn how to live in that and realize that there is nothing wrong with our flaws. We are not intended to live perfect life in the aspect of if perfect is defined by anyone other than the person behind this right here. I can define my own perfect. I can live in that moment and that will be perfect for me. And I can always be progressing and making myself better and enriching my life, but I get to define that. And whether or not I accept anyone's input is whether or not I value it. And if I don't, then I don't have to accept it. No one can speak over me words that I have to accept unless I value their opinion. And that's a strong mindset kind of thing. Do you feel like that you've had to limit, or, you know, if for my example would be like you once feared what people might think when they saw you out. You don't want to tell your story, but now does it even matter? Like you know, I am who I am. Julie is who she is.
And when I joined Instagram, like two days later or something, I saw Ashley do like a what I eat in a day. Mm-hmm. And I heard her say Missouri, and I was like, oh, hi. I DM'd her, hi from St. Louis. And she's like, oh, we're having a meetup in St. Louis this weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I went.
Yeah.
Like, who is that?
Straight out the gate.
I almost didn't, because I was like, I don't know. Like, should I go to this? And,
yeah, you
know, my husband pushed me a little, and I mean, it was the best thing I could have done. You know, I mean, I met some amazing people in person. I mean, you know, hopefully we'll have another one at some point soon, you know, once all this craziness is done. But you know, Ashley and Andrea have become good friends of mine. I've gotten together with them a bunch of times, and I mean, it was just like meant to be, you know. It was just a crazy thing. I joined Instagram and it was like, hey, there's a meetup this weekend.
Yeah, why didn't you come with them to Dallas? They both came down to Dallas and met me. Where were you?
I'm a mommy, you know. I don't know. I know.
It's sad. Anyway, so we got like 3 minutes left because this thing cuts us off right in an hour. So I'm gonna tell you some news, and I'm announcing this a little bit premature, but since we got a little bit of an audience and this will play a few times, I wanted to get the word out, and I'm going to confirm all the details with my co-host for Sunday. On Sunday, at some point in the morning, and I'm thinking probably somewhere around like 9:30 Central Time. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a worship service where I'm going to play and sing. And then Ginger, my fellow ambassador, the Shrinking Mama, is going to bring a little Bible study. So we're going to have WW Church, because everybody can't go to church. We're going to have a little WW Church right here on the gram. And there may not be anybody that watches, but we're going to do that. And it's going to be fun. And I'll sing a couple of songs. And there we go. So,
well, if you're singing, I mean.
Yeah.
Can a Jew come?
Yeah, absolutely. No? I mean, we could probably find some music that would sound good. I don't know any Jewish songs particularly, but anyway, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We can have all kinds of services that follow each. So we'll just whatever. It is not a specific denomination, religion, or anything. It is just people communing together, so it will be good. So, but anyway, so what? Are you a church singer, or are you like a public singer, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, but I sing at temple, and I mean,
there's a little guitar like right behind you. I see it.
Yep. That would be my husband's. Yeah, we both are musicians. That's how we met, and I also tutor bar bat mitzvah students. So.
Oh, well, all right.
Yep. Now over FaceTime, but yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. What instrument do you play?
I play guitar, kind of.
Oh,
but well, I'm more a singer. More a singer.
Okay. Okay. I've got Instagram TV videos of me playing everything under the sun: drums, guitar, piano, whatever. So,
yeah.
I don't even care. It's like, this is terrible, but I'll still post it.
So
what?
I love your Hamilton rapping.
Oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun. All right, so before we go, we got like a minute. Anything you want to ask me? I always end with you having the ability to ask me whatever you want to know.
Ugh, put me on the spot. Well, just before, if I don't have a chance to ask anything, just thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Because it was on my bucket list. It was on my WW bucket list.